Caitlin Clark lands new role in basketball during Indiana Fever off-season. It was announced on Tuesday that Caitlin Clark will join NBC Sports to serve as a special contributor for its new Basketball Night in America program. Caitlin Clark will make her debut as a TV analyst on February 1st, preceding the Lakers versus Knicks game at Madison Square Garden, per a release from NBC.
Caitlin Clark just landed one of the most shocking media deals in basketball history, and her rivals are losing their minds. NBC Sports handed Clark a seat on its flagship NBA Analyst show, placing her alongside Hall of Famers and instantly making her one of the most watched analysts in the sport, before she's even broken down a single game. While WNBA players were threatening sit-outs over contract negotiations, Clark quietly secured income that doesn't depend on league politics, labor disputes, or anyone else's approval. She didn't wait for the system to change, she stepped outside of it. Now the debate is exploding. Does Caitlin Clark taking this NBC job help the WNBA by expanding its reach, or hurt it by proving she doesn't need the league at all?
The NBA made its triumphant return to NBC this season, and who did Universal bring in to really start it off with a bang? Who did they bring in to engage all audiences? They brought in the GOAT, also known as Michael Jordan. They teased Michael Jordan appearing up and down the bill to get people tuned in, to get people watching. Now, February 1st, they're rolling something else out. Basketball Night in America. Well, Michael Jordan, he already fulfilled his duties. He already took care of his commitments. He already reached all requirements on the contract. So who do they need to go get? Well, the next best thing, I suppose. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark will join NBC Sports as a special contributor for the newly launched Basketball Night in America on February 1st, preceding the Lakers-Knicks game at Madison Square Garden. It will be CC's first time in an analyst type.
Let's cut through the noise immediately. NBC Sports just announced that Caitlin Clark will join Basketball Night in America starting February 1st, 2026. She'll be sitting alongside Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Reggie Miller, breaking down NBA games. Not WNBA games. Not women's basketball. NBA basketball, the biggest league on the planet. And the timing? Absolutely hilarious. The WNBA's collective bargaining agreement expires in October 2025, and players are already threatening to sit out the entire 2026 season if they don't get higher salaries, better travel, expanded rosters, and a larger share of league revenue. The Players Association is pushing unity, demanding owners finally pay them what they're worth. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark just signed a deal that pays her whether the WNBA season exists or not. She's got USA basketball commitments in March for World Cup qualifiers. She's got an NBC media role locked in through at least May. She's sitting on endorsement deals worth more than most WNBA players will earn in their entire careers. And she's quietly building a media career that has zero to do with what the WNBA Players Union decides. The leverage game just shifted, and everybody knows it.
Wow. So this would be akin to, they have Sunday Night Football, and it starts with a pregame show called Football Night in America. I didn't know they were creating Basketball Night in America, but here we are. It will be Caitlin Clark's first time in an analyst-type role on TV. That's per Chloe Peterson. She will return to the broadcast table on March 9 for a game between Oklahoma City Thunder and the Knicks. Caitlin Clark joins Michael Jordan as a splashy acquisition for NBC and NBA Cup.
NBC didn't hire Caitlin Clark because they needed another basketball analyst. They already have Hall of Famers who can break down film in their sleep. They hired her because she moves the needle in ways no one else can. Caitlin Clark is the most recognizable player in women's basketball history. Her Indiana Fever games delivered unprecedented TV ratings. Her jersey sales shattered records. Her presence turned half-empty arenas into sold-out events. Now NBC is betting that her drawing power doesn't stop at the WNBA. They're betting that fans who tuned in to watch her play will tune in to hear her talk. They're betting that women's basketball fans will follow her straight into NBA programming. They're betting that her name alone creates appointment television, no matter what sport is on the screen. That's not a small bet. Basketball Night in America is NBC's attempt to replicate the dominance of Football Night in America, the NFL pregame juggernaut that owns Sunday evenings. And this launch isn't accidental. NBC just secured NBA broadcasting rights beginning with the 2025-26 season, and they're putting Caitlin Clark front and center from day one. This isn't about analysis. It's about attention. And Caitlin Clark controls more of it than anyone else in basketball.
Of course, Caitlin Clark is expected to offer unique insights in assuming the analyst role for the first time, and her basketball IQ cannot be questioned. So the transition will be a seamless one for the Indiana Fevers.
The Michael Jordan comparison keeps coming up, and it's worth breaking down why it's both accurate and misleading. When NBC brought Jordan into their coverage years ago, it was largely symbolic. He appeared occasionally, generated buzz, and added instant credibility just by being there. Nobody expected deep breakdowns or week-to-week analysis. His presence alone did the work. Caitlin Clark is being positioned very differently. She doesn't just have a seat, she has scheduled assignments tied to specific games. On February 1st, she's analyzing Lakers versus Knicks at Madison Square Garden. On March 9th, it's Thunder versus Knicks. These aren't filler matchups. These are premium NBA games, and Clark isn't there to smile for the cameras. She's expected to contribute real insight. That's a completely different level of pressure. She'll be sitting next to Carmelo Anthony, a 19-year NBA veteran, Vince Carter, who played 22 seasons, Tracy McGrady, Reggie Miller, all-time greats who understand NBA basketball at a level most people never will. And Caitlin Clark, still in her early 20s, still actively playing in a different league, is expected to hold her own in that conversation. The expectation isn't that she knows more than these legends. It's that she brings something they can't. A different perspective. A different lens. A voice that makes the analysis more compelling, more accessible, more interesting. And if she pulls that off, this becomes a massive win across the board. NBC gets differentiated content. The show gets new energy. And Caitlin Clark proves, once again, that her impact extends far beyond the court. Caitlin Clark gets something most WNBA players never do: mainstream exposure beyond the WNBA bubble. Women's basketball gets legitimized not as a niche product, but as a pipeline for basketball knowledge that transcends gender. But here's the flip side, and it's brutal. If she struggles, if she looks nervous, generic, or clearly overwhelmed, it doesn't just reflect on her. It feeds every negative stereotype about women's sports analysis that already exists. There is no neutral outcome here. Every appearance will be dissected by people searching for reasons to dismiss her and by people desperately hoping she proves them wrong. The margin for error is razor thin. Now let's talk about what this means for the CBA negotiations, because this is where things get genuinely complicated. The WNBA Players Association needs a united front to have real leverage. They need every player willing to sit out if demands aren't met. They need solidarity, because without it, the threat collapses. And Caitlin Clark just showed that she doesn't need WNBA games to happen. She can earn through media. She can earn through USA Basketball. She can earn through endorsements. Her Nike deal alone is worth more than she'll ever make from WNBA salaries. So if the players' union decides to hold out, she isn't facing the same financial pressure as most players. That doesn't mean she'll cross a picket line or undermine the union, but it does mean her incentives are fundamentally different. She's already secured generational wealth. She already has mainstream visibility that extends far beyond the WNBA. And whether people want to admit it or not, that reality changes the leverage equation forever. She's already operating in a completely different economic reality than players making league minimum salaries, players who spend their off seasons overseas just to stay afloat. And that raises an uncomfortable question no one wants to ask out loud. How hard do you fight for CBA improvements that mainly benefit the middle and bottom of the roster when you're already set for life? It's awkward. It's sensitive. And yet, everyone is thinking it. Some WNBA players are going to view this NBC deal as a betrayal. They'll argue that Caitlin Clark should be using her platform to advocate for the league and her fellow players, not building her personal brand by analyzing men's basketball. They'll point out the contrast. While they're fighting for better pay and working conditions, she's getting rich talking about a league she doesn't even play in. And that criticism isn't entirely wrong. There's something deeply ironic about the WNBA's biggest star making more money talking about men's basketball than actually playing women's basketball. It exposes just how unbalanced the economics of women's sports still are, even after all the recent progress. But the counterargument matters too. Caitlin Clark on NBC keeps basketball, and women's basketball by extension, in the conversation during the WNBA offseason. It keeps her name in front of casual sports fans who might not think about the league between July and May. And when the WNBA season finally tips off, she doesn't just return alone, she brings some of that audience back with her. That's the optimistic interpretation. And the truth is, both sides can be right at the same time. NBC knows this. They're not naive. They're betting the scrutiny itself drives viewership, and viewership drives revenue. Controversy is profitable. And Caitlin Clark generates controversy simply by occupying spaces that were once exclusively male. Zoom out, and this ties directly into the WNBA's identity crisis. Is it a niche league serving a loyal but limited audience? Or is it a growth property capable of competing for casual fans alongside the NBA, NFL, and MLB? That question determines everything about CBA negotiations because it determines how much revenue owners believe is actually possible. Caitlin Clark forces the growth narrative. Her arrival doubled attendance in some markets. TV ratings hit record highs. Merchandise sales exploded. She proved single-handedly that women's basketball can draw mainstream interest when the right star is marketed correctly. But that creates tension. If she's the reason ratings rise and networks invest, shouldn't she be compensated differently? And the moment you answer, yes, you start undermining the collective bargaining structure designed to protect non-superstars. The NBA faced this exact problem with Michael Jordan. His market value shattered the salary cap, forcing the league to invent workarounds, endorsements, exceptions, loopholes to maintain the illusion of balance. The WNBA is heading toward that same reckoning. Caitlin Clark's value already exists in a different universe than the league's pay structure can handle. She's secured her future whether the WNBA season happens or not, and everyone else can see their leverage shrinking in real time. NBC is betting that her star power converts into analyst credibility. The league is betting it converts into long-term growth. And the entire basketball world is watching to see which bet pays off.